The first thing Lieutenant Kale Rowan understood was this: if he let go of her wound, she would die, and if he kept holding it, he might. The battlefield of Erindor 9 burned behind him. Smoke twisted into the dark violet sky. Human dropships lay in pieces across the metallic desert. The alien war machines prowled in the distance like predators searching for movement. And in the middle of the ruin, Kale knelt beside the most dangerous being he had ever seen. She didn't look dangerous. She looked fragile. Silver blood shimmered between his fingers as he pressed the med seal against her side. Her armor was unlike anything humanity had built, grown, not forged. Smooth, organic, cracked open by an explosion meant to erase her completely. Her eyes opened slowly. Not human eyes. Too bright. Too sharp. A deep luminous blue that seemed to glow from within. She stared directly into him. "Human," she whispered, her voice layered with an echo that didn't belong to one throat alone. "You have no idea who I really am." Kale swallowed. He believed her. The war between Earth and the Varelian ascendancy had lasted 6 years. Humans were the underdogs from the beginning. The Varelians had faster ships, stronger weapons, and soldiers engineered for perfection. But humans had something else. They had stubbornness. Kale had been separated from his unit when the orbital strike hit. His exosuit was half-functional. His comms were dead. He had been crawling toward a ridge for cover when he saw her fall from the sky like a broken star. An elite Varelian operative. Even injured, she could kill him in seconds. Yet she hadn't. She had tried to stand, failed, and collapsed beside the shattered remains of a drone. Kale had made the kind of decision that makes history or ends it. He ran toward her. Now he pressed the final layer of biofoam over the wound, sealing the strange glowing tissue beneath. "You're losing too much blood," he said quietly. "Alien or not, biology is still biology." "You should have left me," she replied. "Probably. You risk execution for aiding the enemy. Only if someone finds out." A faint smile touched her lips. "You are either brave or profoundly foolish." Kale shrugged. Humanity's built on both. Distant engines roared across the plains. Search patrols. They were looking for survivors. Looking for her. She turned her head slightly, listening. "They will not stop," she said. "I am too valuable." "What are you?" Kale asked. She hesitated. Then she answered. "I am not a soldier. I am a convergence." That didn't sound comforting. Before he could ask more, a shadow passed over the ruined ridge. A Varelian hunter drone descended, scanning with pulsing beams of blue light. Kale's heart pounded. "If it scans us, I can't fight it," he muttered. "You cannot," she agreed calmly. The drone hovered closer. Then something unexpected happened. She reached for his wrist. Her fingers were cold, but a surge of energy passed into him like electricity through nerves. "Trust me," she said. The drone's scanning beam swept across them. And passed. It didn't register them. Kale blinked. "What did you just do?" "I adjusted your electromagnetic signature to mimic local mineral interference." He stared at her. "You hacked physics." A faint tilt of her head. "You adapt quickly, human." The drone moved away. Silence returned. Kale slowly pulled his hand back. "You could have killed me the moment I touched you." "Yes." "But you didn't." "No." They locked eyes again. Something shifted. Not alliance. Not yet. But recognition. Two intelligent beings trapped between empires. "You said you're valuable," Kale said carefully. "Why?" She studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke words that changed everything. "I was designed to study humanity." Kale felt his breath leave him. "You're a spy." "I was meant to determine why humans win battles they should lose." "And what did you conclude?" Her gaze softened slightly. "That humans are unpredictable. Illogical. Emotionally driven." "That's not a compliment." "It is," she said. Your species does not calculate surrender the way others do. The wind rose, carrying sparks across the battlefield. Kale looked toward the horizon. More patrol craft were coming. If they find you, what happens? He asked. I will be terminated, she replied simply. My creators believe I have been compromised. Compromised how? She held his gaze. I hesitated. He understood. She had chosen not to fire. Maybe at him. Maybe at someone else. You spared a human. Yes. Why? She looked toward the sky where human ships once fought bravely against impossible odds. Because your species fascinates me. You create art in the middle of war. You build families on dying worlds. You laugh in hopelessness. Kale let out a breath. Yeah. We're weird like that. The ground trembled. This time it wasn't patrol craft. It was a Varelian ground strike team. They were triangulating her signal. You need to leave, she said firmly. Not happening. You cannot defeat them. Maybe not alone. He stood, adjusting the broken power core on his suit. What are you thinking? She asked. Humans don't win because we're stronger, Kale said. We win because we improvise. He tore open a panel on the fallen drone nearby. Circuits sparked. Energy cells hummed. You said you can adjust electromagnetic signatures, he said. Yes. Can you amplify one? Her eyes sharpened. You intend to create a false beacon. Exactly. Understanding dawned across her alien features. You will draw them away. And buy you time. She stared at him again. This time not as a subject. Not as an enemy. But as something new. You are remarkable, she said quietly. Kale grinned despite the danger. Humanity, remember. The first Varelian soldiers appeared on the ridge. Tall. Armored. Perfect. Kale slammed the modified drone core into the sand and overcharged it. A massive energy pulse shot into the sky in the opposite direction. The Varelians instantly turned and sprinted toward the false signal. Dust erupted behind them. Silence returned once more. Kale exhaled slowly. See? Foolish works. She looked at him with something almost like awe. You were meant to lose this war, she said. Yeah, Kale replied. We get that a lot. In the distance, human artillery suddenly ignited. The false signal had triggered more than just alien pursuit. It had awakened nearby human defenses. The battlefield shifted. Chaos spread through Varelian ranks. Kale turned back to her. Looks like you studied us at the wrong time. She watched the unfolding disorder with widened eyes. You weaponized unpredictability. He offered his hand. Welcome to humanity's specialty. She hesitated only a second before taking it. And far above the burning world of Erindor 9, unseen observers began to reconsider everything they believed about Earth. The explosion of human artillery rolled across the desert like thunder that refused to fade. Fire lit the horizon in sharp flashes. The Varelian strike team, precise and disciplined only moments ago, now scrambled in confusion. Kale didn't smile. He calculated. Humans survived not by celebrating too early, but by moving faster than the enemy expected. The alien woman beside him watched the battlefield with unreadable intensity. You created chaos from nothing, she said quietly. No, Kale replied. From scraps. He pointed at the overcharged drone core still humming weakly in the sand. Humans don't wait for perfect conditions. We build weapons out of leftovers. Her luminous eyes studied him again, not as prey, not as a research subject, but as something more dangerous. An anomaly. More Varelian signals pulsed in the air. She stiffened. They have detected the deception. Of course they did, Kale muttered. Smart enemies make this fun. They will adjust their sweep pattern. Within minutes, they will triangulate this location. Then we don't stay. She looked down at her sealed wound. I cannot move at full capacity. You don't have to. He crouched and removed the power core from his damaged exosuit. Sparks jumped across metal. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Breaking something useful." He rewired the energy feed into a portable grave stabilizer, emergency evacuation gear never meant for combat use. With effort, he slid the device beneath her. "You'll float just enough to reduce strain," he said. "It'll hold for maybe 15 minutes before it burns out. You dismantle your own armor to assist me. Armor can be replaced." She studied him in silence. "Lives can't." She did not answer that. The ground shook again. This time closer. 3 Varelian enforcers crested the ridge, tall figures in reflective biomechanical armor, rifles glowing with unstable plasma. Kale didn't hesitate. "Move." The grave stabilizer activated with a sharp pulse. She lifted slightly off the ground, her weight reduced. They ran. The metallic desert shifted into jagged rock formations carved by ancient storms. Sharp edges, narrow paths, unpredictable cover. Perfect. Humans excelled in messy terrain. Behind them, plasma blasts scorched stone. "You are slower than predicted," she observed. "Yeah, well, humans don't come factory optimized." Another shot exploded beside them. Shards rained down. She stopped suddenly. "Left," she commanded. He didn't question it. They dove into a narrow crevice just as plasma fire ripped through the path ahead. She closed her eyes briefly. "You are trusting my instincts now." "You saved us earlier," he replied. "That's enough." For a brief moment, something changed in her expression. Trust. Not full, but growing. The crevice opened into a cavern, dark, deep, ancient. Symbols lined the walls, glowing faintly under her presence. She frowned. "This structure predates both our species." "Great," Kale breathed. "First contact with aliens and now ancient mystery ruins." The grave stabilizer flickered. "Time is short," she warned. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed closer. Kale scanned the cavern. Then he saw it. A crystal-like structure embedded in the wall, pulsing faintly, reacting to her proximity. "Is that yours?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. "No." The crystal pulsed brighter. Her wound glowed in response. The cavern trembled. Kale stepped back. "I'm guessing this isn't random." She moved closer to the crystal, drawn to it. Her voice changed slightly, layered, deeper. "This is a relay." "For what?" She touched the surface. The cavern lit up. Star maps exploded across the walls in shimmering light. Systems, civilizations, countless worlds. Kale's breath caught. "This is a message beacon," she whispered. "For who?" Her eyes widened. "For observers." As if summoned by her words, the crystal shifted its projection. It displayed Earth. Then Virelia. Then, something beyond both. A massive structure orbiting a distant star. Kale felt cold. "They are watching the war." "Yes." "Both sides." "Yes." "Why?" She hesitated, then answered in a way that shook him. "To determine which species is worthy of expansion." Silence pressed down on them. The war wasn't just conquest. It was a test. Footsteps thundered outside the cavern entrance. The Varelians had found them. Kale's mind raced. "How does it judge?" he asked. She scanned the symbols rapidly. "Not by strength." "Then what?" "Adaptation." A plasma blast tore into the cavern entrance. Rock shattered. They had seconds. Kale looked at the crystal. Then at her. "You said you were designed to study us." "Yes." "What did you report?" Her jaw tightened. "That humanity is unpredictable and resilient." He nodded. "Then let's prove it." He grabbed his final energy cell. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "If it's watching," he said, "let's give it something worth seeing." He slammed the energy cell into the crystal's base. Power surged. The cavern erupted in light. Outside, Varelian weapons malfunctioned. Plasma rifles fizzled. Armor systems flickered. The observer's relay pulsed wildly, broadcasting data across unknown distances. Kale staggered back. "Tell it," he gasped. "Tell it what?" she asked. "Tell it humanity doesn't win because we're perfect." The enforcers stormed inside, but their targeting systems failed under the crystal's interference. Kale stood in front of her despite knowing he couldn't stop them alone. "Tell it we win because we refuse to quit." She stepped beside him. For the first time, she didn't stand behind a human. She stood with one. Her voice rose, not to him, not to the enforcers, but to the unseen watchers. "Humanity chooses cooperation over domination," she declared. "They create alliances in the midst of war." The crystal flared blinding white. The enforcers froze mid-step. Their armor powered down completely. Silence. The projection shifted. Earth and Virelia no longer opposed. Instead, a new path formed between them. Kale blinked. "Did we just pass an alien exam?" Her breathing slowed. "Yes." Outside, Varelian ships halted in the sky. Across orbit, human fleets reported sudden ceasefire signals. The war paused. Kale looked at her. "What happens now?" She turned to him. "For the first time in centuries, my people will be forced to reconsider their definition of superiority. And Earth will be recognized as something far more dangerous than a military threat." He raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" Her lips curved slightly. "A catalyst." The grave stabilizer finally burned out. She stumbled. Kale caught her. "Easy," he said. In orbit, unknown signals transmitted beyond the system. The observers had made their choice. But choices always carry consequences. And somewhere in the dark between stars, something ancient had taken notice of humanity's defiance. The silence after the crystal's light faded felt heavier than any explosion. Outside the cavern, the Varelian enforcers remained frozen, their weapons dead in their hands. Above the desert, ships that had been firing moments earlier now hovered in stunned stillness. Across orbit, human commanders stared at their screens in disbelief as ceasefire codes flooded every channel. Lieutenant Kale Rowan slowly lowered his arm. "Well," he said quietly, "that's new." Beside him, the alien woman steadied herself against the cavern wall. The glow in her wound had faded to a faint shimmer. Her breathing was calmer now, but her eyes were distant, as if she were listening to something far away. "They are responding," she said. "Your people." "No." She looked up toward the cavern ceiling, toward the sky beyond rock and storm and atmosphere. "The observers." Kale felt a chill crawl along his spine. The crystal pulsed again, softer this time. The star map reappeared, but now it was expanding. Systems unfolded like blooming flowers. Signals moved between them in clean lines of light. Then a new projection formed. A single symbol. Unknown. Ancient. And it was pointed directly at Earth. Kale swallowed. "That doesn't look friendly." "It is not hostile," she replied carefully. "It is curious." "That's worse." Outside, thunder cracked across the desert as storm clouds rolled in fast. Lightning split the sky between twin suns. The war-torn battlefield was turning into chaos of another kind. Her posture changed suddenly. "They are scanning me." "For what?" "For deviation." Kale stared at her. "Because you helped me." "Yes." And because I spoke in defense of humanity." He gave a short, breathless laugh. "You might be the first alien to ever do that." Her expression didn't change. "I may also be the first to be erased for it." The word hit him harder than plasma fire. Erased. "My neural core is connected to Ascendancy Command. If they determine that I am compromised beyond recovery." She didn't finish. She didn't need to. Kale stepped closer. "Then we disconnect it." Her eyes widened slightly. "You cannot." "Watch me." He scanned the inside of her damaged armor. Beneath the organic plating, faint circuitry pulsed, elegant, alien, impossibly advanced. Human technology cannot. We don't need perfect technology, he interrupted. We need enough. He removed the last functioning microtool from his belt. A simple field cutter, designed to fix broken wires, not reprogram alien assassins. Outside, the enforcers began to twitch as emergency systems tried to reboot. Time was running out. Tell me what to cut, Kale said. She hesitated. Human, if you sever the wrong filament, I will die instantly. He met her eyes. You trusted me once. Silence. Then she guided his hand. Second layer. Beneath the violet conduit, there is a silver strand woven through. He sliced open the armor carefully. The smell of ozone filled the cavern. Why are you doing this? She asked quietly. Because no one owns another intelligent being, he said simply. We fought entire wars over that. He reached the inner layer. There. A thin, glowing filament pulsed with data. Outside, the Varelian enforcers stepped forward again. Her voice grew urgent. They are regaining control. Kale tightened his grip. On 3. She almost smiled. You are reckless. Yeah. It's a theme. 1. The cavern trembled. 2. Plasma rifles reignited outside. 3. He cut the filament. For a split second, everything went dark. No sound. No light. No thought. Then, a shockwave blasted outward from her body, knocking Kale against the cavern wall. The enforcers outside collapsed, fully deactivated. Above the planet, every Varelian ship flickered. And in orbit around Earth, distant sensors recorded something impossible. A pulse. Not a weapon. Not a signal. A declaration. Kale coughed, pushing himself up. Still alive? He asked hoarsely. She was on her knees. Breathing. Free. Her eyes opened slowly. They were different now. Brighter. Clearer. They cannot reach me anymore, she said softly. He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Congratulations. You're officially unemployed. She looked at her hands, flexing her fingers as if feeling her own existence for the first time. No, she corrected. I am independent. Outside, the storm finally broke. Rain poured across the battlefield, washing blood into the sand. In orbit, both fleets maintained ceasefire positions. Then something unexpected happened. Human ships began transmitting open channels, not threats, not demands. Invitations. Kale blinked. They're offering talks already. Yes, she said. Your leaders move quickly. Adaptation, he replied. The crystal behind them shifted once more. The ancient symbol dissolved. In its place appeared a network, Earth linked with Virelia, and now linked to other distant systems. The observers were not ending the test. They were expanding it. She turned toward him. You have changed the outcome. Pretty sure you helped. No, she said. You chose cooperation in the face of fear. That is not common among dominant species. He shrugged lightly. Humans learn the hard way that survival alone isn't enough. You survive longer when you build bridges. She stepped toward the cavern entrance, watching rain fall across the metallic desert. My people believed strength meant control. And now, they will have to learn that strength can also mean restraint. In the distance, human rescue ships descended carefully. No weapons fired. No hostile scans. Just cautious approach. Kale looked at her. What will you do now? She considered the question like it had never been offered to her before. For the first time, she said slowly, I will decide for myself. The words felt powerful in the air. Above the storm clouds, hidden beyond detection, the observers transmitted one final classification across the stars. Humanity. Unstable. Unpredictable. Cooperative. Status. Essential. On Earth, Leaders who had prepared for extinction suddenly found themselves preparing for negotiation. On Virelia, councils that had believed in superiority now faced uncertainty. And in a rain-soaked cavern on a distant world, a human soldier and a once-engineered assassin stood side by side, not as enemies, not as subjects of study, but as the beginning of something neither empire had anticipated. Kale extended his hand again. "So," he said lightly, "want to see what humans can build when we're not trying to blow things up?" She looked at his hand, then at the horizon, then back at him. Her lips curved slightly. "Yes, human," she said. "Show me." And somewhere beyond the stars, civilizations that had once dismissed Earth updated their calculations. They had expected a species that would bow. They had prepared for a species that would fight. They had not prepared for a species that would help its enemy, rewrite the rules, and turn a battlefield into a beginning. Humanity had not won through power, not through perfection, but through a simple, dangerous choice. Refuse to quit. Refuse to dominate. Refuse to surrender compassion. And that, more than any weapon, changed the galaxy forever.